A very good evening to everyone. Today in this session, the book of Exodus, we have with us VJ James. Good evening, sir. So to begin with, the book Purapadanda Pustakam, which was written after 12 years, has now transformed after 25 years into the book of Exodus, the translated version. It is a journey of its own. And when we are looking into the book itself, it is also a journey of Kunyuti, who undergoes a similar journey, which is, in fact, the Exodus itself. So, how do you connect it? That is the personal journey as well as this fictional journey.
It is indeed a long journey, especially for a beginner. 12 years of writing, then 1 year of waiting for the book to be published and recognized. After that, it took 25 years to get it translated and published by Penguin. Now, when I look back, I imagine a 38-year young person. That person only has started writing the novel. That time, suppose somebody was telling, or had I been aware that it will take 12 years for writing, I would never have started or attempted to write a novel. It was that tedious process. It doesn't mean that I was continually working on that, because I, being an engineer in ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, due to the official and other commitments, I was unable to spend my full time on writing. So whatever free time I get, and whenever I get leave, that time only I get engaged in writing. Moreover, why it took 12 years? Just prior to this session, I was listening to what Saharu was telling. He took only 8 months to write his book. I cannot even imagine that. But on those times, you have to write with your hand. This laptop or any other facility was not available. So you have to write it down. Then editing also, again, you have to do. Actually, my draft was having around 430 pages. That about 10 times I might have edited it. That means more than 4,000 pages with my hand I have written to reach this shape of this book. Not only that, this book was initiated because of one of my visit to this particular island called Pottathuruthu, when I was an engineering college student at Marathius College of Engineering. One of my friend's sister's marriage was there, and he invited me for that. So when I reached that island, in order to reach that island, you have to cross a river in a skiff. And while crossing the skiff, you can see far away the multiple buildings of Cochin you can see. But the thing is that none of the developments of the city have crossed this river and reached this particular island. And there are innocent people. For drinking water also, they have to go to the other side of the other side and bring it. And my friend's sisters, they were going to the other side and bringing water for me to bathe. That is the situation. And in that night, what happened now, they were all, their relatives all were assembled from all over Kerala, and they were all getting involved in preparing the food for the next day, and they were making a shed for the marriage to be happened next day. During night, heavy rain and storm came, and it shattered everything. I was so, in fact, I felt so sorry. What will happen next day? I was not knowing. But the thing is that they all patiently did it again, and the next day everything was okay. And after the marriage, in the night also, if you read the book, Bhimanatam, you can see, no? That's a real typical type of dance which you cannot see anywhere in the world. So that also I could experience. So after watching the island, I felt that something is there. I may have to write something about this island. But another 2 years it took for me to start writing. When I was working in ISRO, one of my senior colleagues once told me, Suresh V. Matthew, James, you can also write a novel. It was on 22nd of June 1986, he told me. That particular day I started writing the novel. That was the beginning. So all of a sudden it happened without any preparation. But this particular island was there in my mind. Then I started visiting this island many times. Whenever I get leave, I will go to the island along with my friend. I will go to the innards of the island, meet different people, and their slang, Cochin slang is entirely different for a person like me who is coming from Travancore. The language is entirely different. And if you want to write something in Malayalam, the colloquial language you have to learn. So I talk to them, and then I learn their cultures, ethnic cultures, their beliefs. You can see Showa, the Anita, the girl who is coming from France, is becoming is Kudirippa, what we call in Malayalam, in English, Kudirippa, you settle down on a stone. All these beliefs I gathered from them, and the flora and fauna of that island, everything. And due to continuous visits, I also has become the part of that island. I could not separate myself from the island. That is how it took shape and the manifestation of this story. Because of that, because of my close interaction with that, it is in fact an exodus of me also starting writing and finally reaching this stage.
So when you're just talking about the different language, so while I was reading English as well as Malayalam, when I read Purapadinda Pustakam, the language, just like you said, the Kochi slang was very much evident in it. So I was very, curious to know how the translation would have happened. And the translation is by Ministry.
Ministry, yes.
So
She has translated 4 of my books and published by Penguin.
yes. So also coming to the idea of translation, also it is to be noticed that Ruskin Bond has recently said that among the top 10 books that has to be read within the world literature, including fiction and non-fiction, your book Anti-Clock is one among them. So congratulations for that.
Thank you so much for remembering.
No, but coming to my question, so this translation would not have been easy. It would have been a process. So how do you find this process of translation, the change of language, as well as the reception that you received after your works have been translated?
Yeah, regarding reception, you have mentioned about Ruskin Bond now. You know that Anti-Clock was shortlisted for JCB Prize in the year 2021. And this Ruskin Bond's response was forwarded to me by one of my friends. I couldn't just believe it. Because if you see the list of 10 eminent writers' name, that includes Bernard Shaw, Charles Dickens, Somerset Maugham, then Agatha Christie, Anthony Beevor, like that. Notable names are there. In that list, my name also was seen. I could not believe. I was taken aback, in fact. Then this is the strength of translation that I would like to, because you are asking me about the translation. When translation happens now, you are different culture, because now I am writing about a coffin maker's life in Anti-Clock. You are referring to Anti-Clock. Actually, in Anti-Clock, there are 2 invincible and invisible characters in Anti-Clock. One is death, the other one is time. And I am looking about the philosophy. In a philosophical way, I am trying to approach what death is. We do not know where we are going after the death. And we do not know from where we come from. So, but we are happily living. We do not want to know also. But when something happens, some setbacks happen in our life, then we will stop for a moment and think why this is happening. What is the root cause of this? So I always had an urge inside me to find out or dig out what is the essence of life, what exactly is life. If there is a question in the world, in the universe, definitely there will be an answer for it. But even though the science has been developed this far, the science cannot explain what death is. The science does not know what life is. Where exactly our life exists? Can anybody tell? Where our mind actually rests? Can anybody tell? Nobody is able to. But we boast that we know everything. But my aim or my ambition was to uncover the secrets behind death and time. That is why my attempt to uncover the secrets That was the result was anti-clock. That is what I wanted to say. Actually, I happened to write this novel because of an association with a coffin shop. I happened to see a coffin shop near to Palayam Church at Trivandrum. And the speciality of that coffin shop was, in that particular coffin shop, on the one side he is selling the coffins, on the other side he was lending TV, VCR and cassettes. This time VCR was not that popular, so everybody could not afford it. So people will come, they will lend TV, VCR and cassette along with that. So it was a representation of the life. On the one side it is darkness of death, the other side the celebration, colorful color of celebration. Isn't it life? This is what we see. So everywhere there is a balance between positive and negative. This I have used in narration also, if you see. What I wanted to say is, if you just see a Cartesian coordinate, am I taking more time? No. X-axis and y-axis, because I am a scientist, I sometimes may use some scientific terms. It's very easy to understand. So x-axis is there, y-axis is there. On the x-axis from 0 to plus 1 plus 2 plus 3, like that, it ends up to plus infinity. Here minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, etc. It ends up to minus infinity. Suppose we add plus 1 and minus 1, you will get 0. Plus 10 and minus 10, you will get 0. Plus infinity and minus infinity,
I'm
you
very
will get
bad.
0 only. So the total sum of all integers in the world is 0. If there is an imbalance, it is because positive and negative exist. This is true. Happiness and sorrow, when you add together, you will end up in 0. So nature always tries to stabilize everything. And this theory only is applied in anti-clocks. Probably this might have attracted Ruskin Bond. That is what I feel.
So while you're just talking about this idea of death in life, and so this is one, I'm just reading a small excerpt from this book. So I'll just give you a brief of what this excerpt is. So this it's a very simple scene where a mosquito is biting Kunyuti. And this is what Sir has written. Kunyuti recognized that his blood fed the life force of the mosquito. It would be his own blood that would splatter if he crushed the insect. He felt an attachment and a sense of compassion towards the creature. The revelation dawned that he was living inside the mosquito too. I mean, how you've just said that mosquito and I are one and the same. And it also, I'm very much curious because you're a scientist yourself. You have so much of science backing, and this book is filled with extensively, philosophical ideas. How do you find the balance between both? The whole balance between science and spirituality.
Actually, you are reading from the book of Exodus, my debut novel. But that was the starting point of my exploration in this field. That time, Kunyuti actually, he starts his exodus at the end of this novel. And many people have asked me why he did that. He's escaping from the life like that. Some people asked me. But my answer was it was different, slightly different. Because Kunyuti's travel or Kunyuti's exploration ends in the Tapahadam. Sheila was mentioning about the Chilatomy. There's a character, Freddie Robert, in the Tapahadam, the Call of the Forest. Wherever Kunyuti has started, it is ending in Freddie Robert. Now, actually, we all are, if you scientifically see, I don't know whether I can explain such things here. All people here sitting are extension of me only. I can scientifically prove it. Philosophically, we can tell, but nobody will agree. What is this? There is no logic. But because our intellect will start thinking, no, it can never be. It is not possible. But if you see scientifically, you see this mic, myself, and the air, everything is made up of, basically it is made up of atoms, Atoms contain electrons, protons, neutrons. Subatomic particles are there. Then further to that, quarks are there. So in that sense, when you see the subtle level, if you see each and every matter, one and the same only. If you take some honey or if you take venom, Both are in fact same. In molecular form, the property may be different, but when you go beyond that, subatomic level, when you go, everything remains the same. If you are making dosha or puttu using the same maavu, what do you call flour? Okay, you are using the same raw material, but you are telling it is different. That way, this mic is an extension of me, and subatomic level till again you are going to further down. It is only the energy form. If you reach, energy can neither be created, it's a continuum only. So everything is ultimately in the energy form, but because of the limitation of our senses, we cannot sense it. Suppose I am using a 100x power lens and is watching you using this and that lens, I will not be able to see you. I will see some electrons and protons only here. It is existing there, but we are unable to capture that because our eye is not able to capture that. Same way, our all senses, 5 senses are limited to certain bands only. Because of that limitation only, we feel that this is the universe, this is Prarthana, this is James. And when you overcome the limitations of these senses, then only you will be able to experience the truth, experience the real existence. That is what I wanted to explain here. So I am searching for that. And if I am telling this is the truth, you will not accept it unless otherwise you experience it. If you are telling a child having 4 years old, if you are she is asking me what is heat, I am explaining a lot of questions I am presenting in front of her and explaining this is heat and that is heat like that. She will not understand. But if I put her finger on a candle flame, she will understand. That is experience. So philosophy is something you have to experience. When you experience it, philosophy turns into spirituality. Spirituality is nothing but knowing oneself. What am I made of? Basically, I am the energy. That level, if I am able to take my consciousness to the level of my energy, what is the working inside me? What is that energy which is now functioning, my heart, brain, everything, even while I am speaking, it is functioning, it is working. I am not doing anything for that. That energy, if I am able to join my ego to that energy, that I can experience. That is what is called philosophy, or that is what is called spirituality.
I think all of our minds are completely
I don't know whether I have confused everything.
no, so to come to a bit lighter topic, so just I was very curious when I was reading this book, the book of Exodus, coming back to this book. There is like a variety of characters. All of them are so different from each other, yet so similar. There is a lot of hopelessness that you can find there, yet everyone is hopeful. And also when you're talking about the character, just like you mentioned, Pottatturuthu, the place in which this entire novel takes place, itself becomes a character of its own. And the river becomes a character, and in fact, the whole flora and fauna itself becomes a character. There is this one particular scene from this novel where there is this one character called Kopan, and there is this it's a very beautiful scene as well as a very scary scene where you have this two snakes biting Kopan and Kopan biting the snake back. It's so descriptive. It's like you can sense what the snake is about to say. You can feel the snake, whereas you can feel the character as well. So you have in fact made everything, the place, the flora, the fauna, and as well as human beings, the character. So how is this whole process of characterization?
No, actually, I told you, it took 12 years for me to write it. Basically, I'm an engineer and working in rocketry. There, in rocketry, we cannot tolerate any lapse. The quality control has to be at the utmost. You have to work on that. So that sort of a sense, a mindset is there as an engineer. So I will start working. Initially, when I completed my draft, Then after that, I will start working on each and every character because they have got some sub stories to tell. And I wanted that each and every character and their sub stories has to be tightly linked to the main story. For that, again, I start working. And this fine tuning of all these things happen during my editing only. The initial process of writing, sometimes it might not be this clear or this vivid. But on further editing, further working on that, I am arriving at the maximum beauty of that. As I told, 10 times if I'm editing, that means I am not satisfied on 8th time or 9th time. That's why I am again editing it. When I complete on anything, I think that, oh, now it is okay. Everything is okay, perfect. But after some time, when I again read it, I feel that something is lacking. So I was patient enough to invest my energy and time on that. I wanted it to be the best. I wanted to invest my best effort to literature.
Okay. So, also while reading this novel, what I've noticed was that there is a lot of hidden politics that's there. Hidden politics in the sense it's you don't explicitly say or caste issue or the caste system, but you are talking about there is again this one instance where the Savarna caste person stands in front of their house and calls out the name of the Dalit person. That is when a Dalit person has a child, it is the Savarna person who names the child. So these are just to give you one example. So there is this, you don't explicitly put forth caste system. Similarly, there are a lot of, extensively you talk about the environmental issues that's there. And also you talk about the lost culture, just like you said, the whole festival before the marriage. There is like lost culture, traditions that you talk about. So there is this hidden politics that you very subtly talk about. So how is that process as well?
Actually, I feel that a writer is an activist in writing. There are writers who are activists too. But I feel that my activism is writing. So whatever I wanted to tell to the society, because you're telling about all these things which you have read there, the socio-political issues, the imbalances what we see, inequalities, and the sufferings of the people, everything. We see all these things, and we want to solve all these things. But a writer need not go behind these things and try to solve it. Why? Because it's my thinking only. No, other writers may have their own thinking about that. Why? Because when you read a book, what happens? In your solitude only you read the book. Your full attention is there on the book. Whatever is written in the book, your full attention is there. So you're grabbing it and it is directly penetrating into your mind. If you want to make any change in the society, actually the individual has to be changed first. The change has to start within me first. Then only I can change the society. But what happens? We all want to change the society. We know what is wrong with the society and how they have to be changed. But I am not prepared to change myself. If you read a classic, for example, Dostoevsky's book, Crime and Punishment, it changes you. You are becoming a different person. That sort of a change is happening when you read a good book. Such books are called classics. So I believe that it's an activism. Writing is an activism. These politics and how it has to be corrected, how it is affecting, how the society has to be shaped. Because society is nothing but collection of individuals. Individual is the building block. We have to start from the building block. That is why this is given in the human fashion, but it will penetrate. Now you are asking the question, why? Because it has affected you. This is the purpose of my writing.
Since I think we are in less of time, is there any questions? The floor is open for questions. Anybody?
Hi, sir. You said you are trying to find like ourselves. So my question is, when we finding ourselves, I mean, do the journey goes further and reach to the God? In a nutshell, how do you define the possibility of God? I mean, apart from the explanation that the religions given to us, is there something uncaused cause that we can call it as a God or something?
God is a name. As far as since I am a scientist, if you read my book Nirisharan, the answer to this question is there. Here you will get the answer from that book. In Nirisharan, actually, I have changed one quote from Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya. You might have heard it, no? Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya. But if you read Nirisharan, this particular quote is changed into Urja Satya Vastu Mithya. In the sense, energy is the truth, material is mithya, what it's called? Virtuality. Yes. Virtuality. I have earlier itself I have explained how it is because I am seeing you as a body and I am conceiving you as a shape and your name, is it not? It is because of my limitation, because I am unable to conceive you in the energy form. You are in energy form only, and energy cannot be different. Energy can only be a single energy. Earlier I have told that it's a continuum. It is continuing from me to you, but I am unable to perceive it because of my limitations of the senses and mind. If I am able to overcome the limitations of my sense and mind and the limitation of my intellect also, then your answer will be experienced. I am not telling it will be told, it will be experienced. You can only experience it. Whether we call it God or energy, everything is one and the same.